Hi guys! Before I start our next book, I wanted to update everybody on what we're doing. So I saw so many of you while we were giving out games outside of Lay, and I loved catching up with everyone. Unfortunately, we all just heard that we won't be going back this school year, and I hate that. I miss you all so much. With that being said, we have a Facebook page. If you search Jessie D. Lay Elementary Save the Children, we will be there, and we'll have our announcements and activities that you can try at home. And I'll also be posting the read alouds from here on that page. So make sure that you go like it. I've also changed the due date for our summaries from this page. So all of those summaries will be due May 11th. You can turn those in by our Facebook page. You can message the Save the Children page. If you have me on Facebook, please feel free to message those to me. They can be dropped off at the school and I will go get them from Miss K. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me. My email is on this page, it's on Facebook. Whatever you need, please feel free to reach out. The next book that I'll be doing with you all is a Cam Jansen book, and it's The Mystery at the Monkey House. So here we go. Cam Jansen, The Mystery at the Monkey House by David A. Adler. And this is illustrated by Susanna Natty. Chapter 1. Quick, Cam Jansen told her friend Eric Shelton. Pull the cord, ring the bell. Cam and Eric were riding on a bus. Eric reached up and pulled the cord above his window. It rang a bell. The driver knew someone wanted to get off at the next stop. At the corner, the bus stopped and the driver opened the doors. Cam and Eric got off. We almost missed our stop, Cam said. The Jackson Park Zoo is right up this block. It was a cool spring afternoon. Cam and Eric had gone to the zoo right after school. When they reached the zoo entrance, Eric took out his wallet and paid the fee. Cam paid too. Look, Eric said. He pointed to a boy just ahead. There's Billy Adams. He's the boy I told you about. He just moved into my apartment building. Hey, Billy! Billy! Eric called. The boy turned. Cam and Eric walked over to him. This is my friend Jennifer Jansen, Eric told the boy, but everyone calls her Cam. Cam? It's short for the camera. Everyone calls her that because she has an amazing memory. Her mind takes a picture of whatever she sees. When she wants to remember something, she just looks at the pictures she has stored in her brain. Cam, Eric, and Billy were standing on a wide paved road. In front of them was a large map of the zoo. Eric said, Cam can take one look at this map, then she can close her eyes and tell you where everything is. I don't believe it, Billy said. Cam looked at the map. She said, click, and closed her eyes. What did she say? Billy asked. Click, Eric whispered. She always says that when she wants to remember something. It's the sound her mental camera makes when it takes a picture. Where are the giraffes? Billy asked. Walk down this main road, Cam said with her eyes still closed. When you pass the camel rides, turn right. First come the elephants and then the giraffes. She's peeking, Billy said. Cam turned around and said, Now you can't say I'm peeking. Ask me another question. Cam has red hair and freckles. Eric's hair is brown. Cam and Eric live near each other and are in the same 5th grade class. Cam and Eric often walk to school together. Where's the Lion Safari gift shop? Billy asked. It's on the main road, right next to the Bear Hug refreshment stand. Honk, honk! Cam opened her eyes. A large truck was on the road. Cam, Eric, and Billy moved aside to let the truck pass. There's our picture. It was a gardener's truck. The back was filled with dirt, sticks, shovels, and rakes. Well, I'm smart too, Billy said. People think goats eat tin cans, but they don't. They just like to lick the glue off the labels. And the fastest animal is the cheetah. I didn't say Cam was smarter than you, Eric said. I just said she has an amazing memory. I have a good memory too. When I was 2 years old, I met John and Jenny Hudson. They're friends of my parents, and I still remember their middle names, Jack and Donna. That's great, Eric said. Now let's go see the monkeys. There's They are always lots of fun. Cam closed her eyes and said, "Click." Then she said, "To get to the monkey house, we just walk down the main path and make a left at the seal pool. The monkeys are right after the prairie dogs." "Did you know that people in Malaysia train monkeys?" Billy asked. "They tie belts and long ropes on them. Then the monkeys climb trees and pick coconuts." Eric smiled and said, "That's very interesting." "Let's go," Cam said as she walked ahead. "I don't want to talk about monkeys. I want to see them." Chapter 2. There were very few people visiting the zoo. Cam, Eric, and Billy walked past the refreshment stand. The woman working there was reading a book. Nearby was a man with an ice cream cart. He was sitting on a bench and resting. As they walked past the seals, Billy said, "Did you know that baby seals can't swim? And do you know how seals keep warm? Their bodies are covered with lots of blubber, and blubber is fat." "That's very interesting," Eric told Billy. "I know that because I read lots of books about animals. I don't say click, but I have a good memory. I remember what I read." There's our picture. The monkey house was a large brick building. Outside the building, along both sides, were cages. Part of each cage was outside the monkey house and part was inside. Cam, Eric, and Billy walked into the building. The monkey house smelled, and it was noisy. Cam sat on a bench in the middle of the house and looked from one cage to the next. Billy read the signs describing the different kinds of monkeys. Eric stood close to one of the cages and looked in. Eric looked at the monkeys in the first cage. He stood with his hands behind his back. Cam noticed that a very small monkey was watching Eric, and the monkey was standing with his hands behind his back too. A monkey jumped onto a swing. Eric turned to look at it. The monkey watching Eric turned too. Eric watched the monkey swing. Then he walked to the next cage. When Eric walked, so did the very small monkey. "Hey, Eric," Cam called. "You have a friend in that cage." "What?" Cam got off the bench. She pointed to the very small monkey and said, "That monkey is copying everything you do." Eric looked at the monkey. The monkey looked at Eric. Eric reached up and put his hand on his head, and the monkey reached up too. He put his hands on his head and smiled. "Billy, come here," Cam whispered. "You have to see this." Cam and Billy watched as Eric jumped. The monkey jumped too. Eric put his hands in his pockets, lifted one foot, and hopped. The monkey didn't have pockets, but he put his hands at his sides, lifted a foot, and hopped many times in a big circle around the cage. Then the monkey sat on the floor of the cage on top of a banana peel. The monkey rubbed his stomach and made a funny laughing sound. "Your monkey hops better than you do," Billy said. "Do something else," Cam told Eric. Eric scratched his nose. The monkey scratched his nose. Eric clapped his hands and jumped. The monkey did that too. "Now I'll do something the monkey can't do," Eric said. Eric held his hands over his head. He leaned forward, took a little jump, and stood on his hands. Eric walked like that upside down. Then he fell to the floor. Look, there he is, walking upside down. Eric looked up at the monkey cage. The very small monkey looked at Eric and smiled. Then the monkey stood on his hands and ran around the cage. Using his tail, he pulled himself onto a swing and made that funny laughing sound again. Eric began to laugh. Cam and Billy laughed too. "That monkey walks on his hands better than you do," Cam said. "He hops and scratches his nose better too. But I'll bet you're better at spelling and long division." "I'm not so sure," Billy said. "Some monkeys are very smart." Cam put her hand around Eric's shoulder. As they walked out of the monkey house, Cam said, "Well, no monkey is as smart as my friend Eric." Billy followed Cam and Eric out of the monkey house. There was a small crowd near the seal pool. Cam, Eric, and Billy went there to see what was happening. It was feeding time for the seals. A woman was standing at the edge of the pool holding a bucket filled with small fish. The woman threw the fish to the seals. The seals caught some of the fish with their mouths. The other fish landed in the pool and the seals swam to get them. There's a picture of that. A baby seal was sitting on a large rock. It tried to reach the fish that landed nearby, but one of the bigger seals always got there first. "Oh, give the baby something to eat," a man in the crowd called out. The woman threw some fish to the other side of the pool. The big seals all swam after them. Then the woman threw a few fish to the rock for the baby seal. When her bucket was empty, the woman left the seal pool. Many of the people who had come to watch walked away. "Let's go to the reptile house. I want to see the alligators," Billy said. "My father is a dentist, and whenever he sees an alligator, he says, 'Just look at those teeth.'" As Cam, Eric, and Billy walked toward the reptile house, they passed the gift shop. They went inside. Billy bought a poster of a smiling alligator. Cam bought a banner. Eric found a book about monkeys. Eric gave the book to the man behind the counter. The man put the book into a bag. Eric reached into his pocket for his wallet, then reached into his other pants pocket. "Come on, pay the man," Billy said. "I can't. My wallet is gone." Chapter 3. "Are you sure you had your wallet with you?" Billy asked. "I had it when I paid for the bus ride, and I had it when I paid the entrance fee to the zoo," Eric said. Cam closed her eyes and said, "Click." "At the zoo entrance, you put the wallet in your left pants pocket," Cam said. Then she opened her eyes. Eric reached into his pockets again. Both pockets were empty. Cam closed her eyes. She said, "Click," a few times. Then she opened her eyes and said to Eric, "Come with me. I think I know where to find your wallet." You can see her there taking her picture with her mind. Eric and Billy followed Cam out of the gift shop. They had to run to keep up with her. "Where are we going?" Billy asked. "To the monkey house," Eric said, and pointed to the large brick building ahead. "I'll bet Cam thinks my wallet found out when I was walking on my hands." Honk, honk. Cam, Eric, and Billy stopped to let a gardener's truck filled with dirt pass. Then they went into the monkey's house. Cam, Eric, and Billy looked on the floor of the monkey house. Cam looked up. She looked into one of the monkey cages. Then she ran outside. "I found it. I found my wallet," Eric said. He opened it, and the money is still here. Billy walked over to Eric. He looked at the wallet. Then Billy and Eric looked at each other, and they both said, "Where's Cam?" Eric and Billy ran toward the monkey house door just as Cam was coming in. "I found my wallet," Eric said to Cam. "They're gone," Cam said. "Who's gone?" Eric asked. "The monkeys! The cage was full of monkeys, and now it's almost empty." Cam led Eric and Billy to the first monkey cage. Eric's monkey and a few of the other monkeys were missing. "I think someone stole them," Cam said. Billy shook his head and told Cam, "No one would steal monkeys. The zookeeper is probably feeding them somewhere, or maybe the monkeys are being moved to another cage." "No," Cam said and shook her head. "The monkeys are fed in their cage. Look, there are even some banana peels in there from the last feeding. And if they were moving the monkeys, they would have taken them." And if they were moving the monkeys, they would have taken them all. Then Eric asked, "Where would they move monkeys? This is the monkey house." "Let's tell one of the guards," Cam said. Cam and Eric ran out of the monkey house. Billy walked slowly after them. Cam stood on a bench and looked around. Then she jumped down and ran toward the lion cage. Eric and Billy followed her. A tall, fat guard with a big mustache was standing there. His arms were folded. There they are. "He looks like a walrus," Billy said to Eric. "Someone stole a bunch of monkeys," Cam told the guard. The guard looked down at Cam and smiled. "No one stole any monkeys," he said. He turned and pointed to a padlock on the door of the lion's cage and said, "No one can open a cage without a key." The guard folded his arms again. Cam, Eric, and Billy walked away. Cam and Eric were quiet as they walked back to the monkey house, but Billy wasn't. "I knew the monkeys weren't stolen," he said. "How could anyone steal a bunch of monkeys? I knew they weren't stolen." While Cam and Eric looked inside the monkey house, Billy sat on the bench. He kept saying, "I knew they weren't stolen." Cam and Eric looked on the floor near the first cage. Cam whispered to Eric, "That guard would have told us if the zoo moved the monkeys. I still think they were stolen." Billy looked at the monkeys in the other cages. and he read the signs describing the monkeys. Cam and Eric walked outside. They looked into the first cage. Then Cam saw something on the ground nearby. She picked it up and said, "Look at this. Now I know those monkeys were stolen." Chapter 4. Cam was holding a padlock. The top of it had been cut. Cam ran toward the lion's cage. "Wait," Eric called as he ran after Cam. "The monkey cage has a lock." But Cam didn't wait. She ran right up to the guard, held out the lock, and said, "Look at this." The guard looked down at Cam and the lock. Then he looked up again. "This is the monkey cage lock. Someone cut it and stole the monkeys," Cam said. Eric pulled on Cam's sleeve and whispered to her, "That's not it." "Try your keys in this," Cam told the guard. The guard looked down at Cam again. Then he pulled a large key ring from his pocket. He picked out one of the keys and said, "This key fits the locks on all the cages, but it won't fit that lock." There he is trying it. The guard took the lock from Cam. He put the key in. The key fit. The guard turned the key and the lock opened. "Let's look at that cage," the guard said. He walked quickly to the monkey house. Cam and Eric had to run to keep up. "Whoever stole those monkeys put another lock on the cage door," Cam said as she ran alongside the guard. The guard looked at the lock on the outside door of the first monkey cage. He tried to put his key in, and it didn't fit. He went inside the monkey house and picked up the telephone. Billy rushed over to Cam and Eric. "What's he doing here?" he asked Cam. "Shh," Eric said. "This is Senior Guard Wally Russell," he said into the telephone. "Someone switched the locks on one of the monkey cages and some monkeys are missing." The guard listened for a short while. Then he said, "Yes, I'll wait here." The guard looked into the first cage. Billy was right behind him. "I knew those monkeys were stolen," Billy told the guard. "I just knew it." Cam and Eric were standing by the door to the monkey house. "How could someone sneak a bunch of monkeys out of a zoo?" Cam asked. Cam stood there looking out. At the far end of the path, she saw two guards running toward the monkey house. Behind them was another guard riding a small cart. "That's it," Cam said. "Come with me." Cam and Eric ran out of the monkey house. They ran past the guards to the wide paved road near the zoo entrance. Cam stopped near a small boy and a man who were looking at a map. "Did you see an ice cream cart go past here?" Cam asked. "No," the boy said, "but we did see one when we were looking at the animals with 4 legs and the real long necks." Cam closed her eyes and said, "Click." Then she said, "Come on, Eric. The giraffes are right down this road." Cam started to run off again. "Stop! Just stop!" Eric called out. "I ran with you to get the guard, and I ran back to the monkey house. I did that twice. Then I ran here. I'm not running anyplace else unless you tell me what's going on." Cam stopped. She turned and told Eric, "When I saw the guard riding a cart, I knew where the monkeys were. They're in an ice cream cart. Those ice cream men ride around all over the zoo. And if you took the ice cream out, there's room in one of those carts for 2 or 3 monkeys." That's our picture. "Maybe one of the guards with carts stole the monkeys," Eric said. Cam shook her head. "The guards have keys. A guard wouldn't have to cut the lock." "But how will we get to see if the ice cream man has any monkeys in his cart?" Eric asked. "We can listen for strange noises coming out of the cart. Or we can tell the man we want to buy some ice cream, and I'll bet he says, 'Sorry, I'm all out.'" Eric nodded, and then they ran together toward the giraffe. So that's where we are going to stop for this video. Make sure that you watch part 2 and write summaries for each video because they will be separate entries.